Recording in progress.
All right, let's go ahead and open in prayer. God, I just thank you for the opportunity to meet together today. And we just thank you for technology and the fact that we can even meet virtually and just what a gift that is. I pray today that you would help us to really get into the right mindset that we need to be able to serve in a bigger way in this business. Lord, you know that building a business is not always easy, and it has days where you're just so excited, and then there's days where it feels harder and it's more of a grind. And so I just pray that you would give us the discipline and the discernment to know how to show up every day to move our businesses forward, always keeping in mind the people that we're serving as the most important focus. I pray for Jake today as he shares his heart after having some extra time with Roger. And I just pray that everyone on this call would just leave feeling encouraged and uplifted and truly believing in their hearts that this business is possible for them. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for being on. So good to see so many of you on today. We've been talking really ever since Punta Cana about wanting to do kind of a call just to sort of regroup and share really our thoughts. Last week, I was able to be on and I shared a little bit. We also wanted to just say thank you so much for being such a support to us during the last few weeks. Losing Jake's mom we were not expecting it to happen when it did. And just all your messages and prayers mean so much to us. And it's like I was sharing with a couple friends yesterday that like this last year that we've been through just like doesn't seem fair. I lost my dad last summer and then did now lose his mom. Um, there's a lot of emotions that happen when you lose a parent, if you've lost a parent, but it's like really easy to fall into that victim mindset a little bit because you're one of the first to lose your parents. And that really sucks to be like, some of the first of our friends to lose parents. And it's kind of like I was telling my friends this too. I said, you know how when you have like maybe some of you were the first of your friends to have kids and like you would be around other friends and they like weren't there yet. And then you're like, they just don't get it. Well, that's how I feel like I have this bigger understanding it just because I've been through it. Um, of what it's like to lose a parent. I mean, obviously, when I've seen people lose parents before, you feel so terrible, but then when you go through it yourself, it's like this whole different experience. And at the same time, you don't ever want anyone else to have to experience what you're going through. So it's just this really weird, these really weird emotions. But I know one thing for us as we've been processing and talking through it is we just really believe that God has had a hand in all of this when it also comes to our business. And Mariah, too, I know that this is so fresh for you. She just lost her dad. And I'm so sorry that you're going through this too, and others who have reached out on the team who have been through this. You know, it's so tough, but I find that when I'm tempted to go into this victim mindset of like, this isn't fair. No one else gets it. Why do my friends get to spend time with their parents? Why don't I get that? Why don't my kids get that? Like, it's really easy to go down that spiral of negativity and like victim mindset. And that's true of anything in life, right? Like, no matter what, it's so easy to go into that spiral, but it's an intentional choice to go, but I'm not going to do that because that's not productive and that's not going to serve the purpose that I have here on earth. And so really, as we've been talking, we just feel so grateful, like truly feels like God has like handpicked this company for us because I mean, what are the chances that this would happen, and that we landed at a company where their mission is to help people to live healthier for longer. And it just, as hard as it is, for us, it has been like this, you know what, we are going to pour our heart and soul into this because we believe so much that if we can help people now, I mean, you guys see it, right? Like we're about 40, and this just really seems to be when people start to let themselves go. Like, I mean, it just really seems to be like 20s and 30s, you could kind of see it, but now it's sort of like, whoa, this is really important. And so for us to be at a time where we can share these products with people and we can truly help them to live a better life. It's like, what a gift that is. And so, we went through that. And then just to like affirm all of this, we were in Punta Cana and we would talk with these people who had been at Shackley for decades. And they are so unapologetically like still so excited to share these products because they truly believe in them and they're so confident that they can help people. And so I just truly believe that we are all here for a reason. We're here for a reason. You guys are here for a reason. And we can do amazing things together if we constantly decide to like let go of the victim mindset. Because that also comes into play with business, right? Especially for those of you who've been through the ringer and lost all of your income, really easy to fall into the victim mindset of like, this is so hard. How can I rebuild? Who's going to want to join me? And all those thoughts kind of start to spiral. And that's kind of the default, at least I found that my mind goes to. So it's like this extra intention to not do that, to be extra like on the other side of like pouring that like just the positive affirmations of like there's an abundance out there. Like the Lord is going to bring an abundant amount of people onto our team. We are going to sell a ton of products, help a ton of people, and continuing to like really get to the positivity. And so that's kind of what we want to focus on today. We have been talking, and since this trip, and then Jake will share, I want him to share kind of his perspective of what went down with Roger. So you can hear it from him. You've heard it from me, but you can hear it from him. Where we came back and we're like, okay, what are our roles in this business? Like, we feel like we can be more strategic with what I do, with what he does, because we each have strengths that are different. And we truly believe that we can help you guys get to the next level if we're just really intentional with how we're using our gifts. And one of Jake's gifts is coaching. He has an ability to mentor and coach, and like we always kind of joke, but I'm like the warm fuzzy hug and he's like the kick in the ass. Like he's the one that will be like, you need to do this and just like do it and no excuses. I mean, honestly, that's why I have the business I have today, because he's been holding me to the fire for the last 10 years. Truly, that's what it is. And so we're like, okay, well, and have there been some arguments? Yeah, but I'm always grateful for him, like, pushing me like iron sharpens iron. But so when we were talking about this and we're like, as we think through all this mindset stuff that's going on, I think that there's still a lot of healing that needs to take place from those of us who have been at different companies. And I really feel like part of that is mental, like your mental health is just really fragile. And, I've been through that. I've been through a lot of mental health struggles. I know some of you guys do too. And for me, there have been times in my life, in my business, where it's like, I know what I need to do and I know the work that I need to do, but there's like this mental roadblock that's holding me back. But if I have someone like that's going to tell me, hey, where are you at with this? Right? Hey, what did you do today to move your business forward? Like that helps me to get over some of those mental blocks. And I just feel like maybe that is the missing piece for some of us to get to the next level is just more accountability. And so that's one thing that we'll share a little bit more later on the call, but really excited to kind of help all of us level up and go, okay, like let's really do this and let's help each other heal, but also let's remember who we are and that we are here to serve in a really big way. So I'm going to turn it over to Jake and just ask him to share just kind of what went down in Punta Cana, how like the thing that happened with Roger, which we're still blown away by. And then just he obviously had a lot more conversations, even, and I felt like I had a ton of conversations with Roger that week, but he did even more. So I would love for him just to kind of share his perspective of the last few weeks.
Well, heyo, peace and love to all y'all. I'm not gonna lie, like the weird thing for me as I continue to process loss is like a spike in constant anxiety. So like I was talking to my dad about it and he was like, yeah, same thing. Like I can, barely fall asleep. I wake up early. I'm not waking up early. I'm exhausted, but like I'm just like here. And so even like normally hopping on one of these things, I'm like ready to rock and roll. And today I'm like here. So bear with me. But so I guess like first thing that I want to highlight with I want to do less on like the backstory of how I got on a plane with Roger, and I'd rather just shoot right to like being on the plane with Roger. Because I thought like it was really like a beyond like in, generous and all that kind of stuff. The fact I kept joking, like, yeah, of course Carl would do something like this. Total joke. But like the intentionality and the care. The thing that's wild to me is we walk down on Tuesday. Like most of the time, I think this guy doesn't even know who like I am. And he pulls me aside and says, like, where do you need to get tomorrow? And then he was like, look, give me until the end of the night and I'll have this all figured out for you. And I was like, right. Then I'm on like a chat with his assistant to like coordinate everything to get me there to be to my mom. And the crazy thing with that night is that was the last time I got to hear my mom tell me that she loved me was Tuesday night. By the time I got there on Thursday, she had lost movement in her left side. She had had a mini stroke. She had her cancer had metastasized, so she had 5 brain tumors just whooping her ass. So, but I did get to like see it and feel it, and like she was so like verbal and like hands and all that kind of stuff. And I really wouldn't have gotten like if not like if trying to figure out everything that I had to try and figure out to get there, like it would have just been almost impossible to not even be there until like Friday, Saturday, and like by then like she was just like a nosedive the last 5 days. So to start on the generosity side, I'm like still blown away that he made that happen. Now the thing with the car ride and plane ride was it had like so little to do with like I was really happy that I didn't have to sit there and talk about the crap that I was, going into. I didn't like I was good with like this sucks, right? So everything that we talked about was business. And there were a couple of things that I thought was like really Katie Wilson, that's so funny. That is seriously so funny. And he probably is going to do like a Facebook advertisement of him on the plane because now he is the marketing program for Body as well. It's just hilarious to me. Um, but a couple of things that I really want to like drive home. And I think this is really important for all of you guys to hear. The number one thing, and I said this to Amber right away, was that like based off of the way that our team is building, he believes if we keep this up, who knows how long, 5 years, 10 years. I know it sounds like crazy because everybody's trying to like rebuild, but our business is built so more balanced than any of the other leaders that came over from Body to a point where he was like, I honestly think the way that you guys are building, where you have this emphasis on personal sales tiers, you have an emphasis on team, and then you have an emphasis on new client acquisition, which we do need to get better at. Again, we got to like really drive that home. That's going to be part of something we talk about later, but we're only at 8-star club bonuses this month. For a while, they were averaging like 52. So like we've really started coasting on the loyalty, and I love it because it's like when you're driving the plane, right? And you decide you're going to land in one spot. Once you commit to landing in that spot, you can't like revert course. So we committed to really building our loyalty, which I think is great. Now we need to like lift the plane back up, grab new client acquisition, and pair it with loyalty. But based off of those 3 buckets, he said that I truly believe that your organization and all y'all are a part of this is going to be one of the top producing organizations in Shackley Global. Like he's like, we're fast. Like they don't care about me. It's Amber. They're like, I'm just fast. I'm just fascinated by how you guys are hitting personal sales tiers. I'm fascinated, and like your whole team is like, you guys are too hard on yourselves. Where you go, oh, I'm only at 15%. The majority of people aren't at 15%. Like it's just not. So we got to stop being pouty. Sorry, now I'm going on a rant again. But like that's it. Like we got to stop being down about what we're doing. We got to start being really proud of what we're producing, because to anybody else, they're looking at that going, how is your team hitting so many personal sales tiers? Like I know all y'all have seen other people like posting like their team's successes. And if you really go in there and you look at it, unless you were this like mega person before, anybody who was kind of on the fringe, is not producing like you guys are producing. So, and for him to be interested in that, and he was like asking me like our level ones, our QOV. I mean, like this was like know your business 101 with Roger, but like it ended with going like based off of like we're fascinated by your business right now, and we're trying to understand what you're doing because the balance is unlike anything else that's come over. So when we're, and I kind of, and then, step two, which I think is really interesting, is one of the things he said, and this is, I really don't, I loved the comment, and I'm so sorry if it ruffles anybody else's like feathers, but he said, like, spend the like I Roger spend the majority of my time focused on understanding what's working from top producers. That's where I spend the majority of my time. I also spend a portion of my time understanding why top producers aren't producing like top producers. So that's where I spend like the majority of my two buckets. I spend very little time in the middle because I already know what it takes to be average. Two buckets in the middle. It got me thinking, am I spending enough of my time as a leader understanding how in the heck Meredith Lohmeyer sells so much retail? Like it's unbelievable. Like I went on her Instagram the other day and I was like, she doesn't even have like a huge following or anything. She just sells a ton of retail. So what is she doing? Do you guys know? Have we spent enough time understanding what our top producers are doing? Or are we so, and to counterbalance that, have you spent enough time understanding like why some of the people could be top producers aren't producing? Or are we stuck in the middle being very content with average? And when he said that, he's like, I don't need to spend time. I know how to be like average, but I want to know how to be a top producer. And I want to understand why top producers aren't producing like top producers. That's a tongue twister, right? So I was like, really hit with that. I was like, man, that's really, really good. And this is all going to kind of like, take you to where we ultimately want to, land this plane today. The last thing, now I'm blanking on what my last thing was that. Oh, the last thing, again, he's just asking me tons and tons and tons of questions. So, he found out, maybe I must have mentioned it, but like that my background's in device sales. So, for a decade, I sold products into the hospital. So we were like going down this whole path on like FDA regulations and, the importance of clinical trials and double blinded and level one and blah, 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 blah. I love that stuff. He then pivoted and started asking me about the landmark study. And I don't know that very well, to my fault, which now would make me go like, how many of y'all can like recite the landmark study, number of patients, how it was structured, the end results, over the test group, like I don't know all that stuff. And he hit me with like a really hard question. And he's like, if you are the expert on, the study on vitamins, on protein, like, why don't you know it? And I was like, I worry more about the business building, Roger. No, I was just like, that's a really good point. He was like, so what were things that you had to do in order to like present clinical data to a physician? And I was like, it was pretty rigorous. Part of it was going into the hospital and I had to understand the procedures. But then I was expected to read and test out on clinical data. And then we had sales aids that were produced by corporate that, you had to be able to present and test out again on being able to present sales aids. And so then he hit me with, he's like, so do you think there's any of that could be applicable to what we're doing? And I was like, I'm sure we probably already have a lot of the graphics, but I do think it would be beneficial for everybody in the field to get some sort of refresh course on the landmark study where you really understand it, you feel good with articulating it. And I do think that there could be, a two-sided sales aid of some sort that would just give you the bullet points on this stuff. And there probably is all this kind of stuff that's already out there. A lot of our value right now is like how it solves a temporary solution. But I think the beauty of what we have here at Shackley is that you also have a lot of long-term solutions. And especially like as go back to the right back down morbid lane. But like when I think of Amber's dad, and really when I think about my mom was like she would be in that kind of like average health person, like not like obese, not ripped, like, she does, she used to do her water aerobics class, that kind of, physical exertion. So when it came time to really fight cancer, like she didn't have anything. Like even those last days, I mean, she was like for a year as she was dying, she was barely moving, which is so sad, so sad. But it definitely puts me on this course of like, if we have a solution for people, we have to make sure that we're guiding people or at least reminding people semi-regularly that, like does anybody else laugh about midlife crisis? Because I'm like, I'm there. I've hit it. Like I'm in the thick of, midlife crisis, like I always used to laugh when people were like, switching jobs or getting cars. And I'm like, sounds kind of nice, like we're in the thick of this. And if we really stop for a second and realize that we've hit this like midlife, ooh, true. It's kind of there a little bit. But like I feel like there has to be a component of our talk track that reminds people or like drives home that we are kind of in this midlife point, but we have a solution. We have a solution for your skincare. Somebody's making fun of me the other day for like, all the stuff that I'm trying right now with the youth. And I'm like, I'll try the wands. Like, why would I want to have wrinkles?
Well, I told him, I said, I want your skin to look like Roger's when you're 61. Because his skin is like insane. And I'm like, you need to get us on the skincare routine.
But I think like there is a very powerful component to that. That's what our whole company is based on. And so I think with, I like that we're going down this road of protein plus vitamins. We need to stay in that. Remember, like if y'all have heard me talk before, like corporate's going to guide you. So then I've said this on repeat, like when you're looking at all these promotions that are coming, like, let's just remember that corporate is going to guide you down a path. So if they are doing a big thing for this C&E, the beads, we're launching vitamin C serum. So sell a bunch of this vitamin C serum. Plus they're going to give like an added incentive to anybody who ordered this month. So like, why aren't we running with that? If they are going down this path with Vivix right now, customer appreciation, let's assume that there's going to be something tied to Vivix moving forward, right? Like this, they are guiding you where it needs to go. Life Shake. Let's assume there's something coming for Life Shake. Like this, everything behind what we're doing right now is leading you down a path. As we go down that path, it is on you as an ambassador, as a director, as a solution provider. I hate when people go, oh, I don't want to be salesy. Salesy doesn't have to feel like spammy, but salesy can be a great solution provider. That's a heck of a sales rep. Those are the people that you end up buying from for years and 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 years, right? You have to be able to understand this landmark study. And so like, I'm going to take that upon myself just to like, make sure that I've read it. And I like this idea of like trying to give you maybe some bullet points that you can really lean on. But I think like when it comes to that, when it comes to this vitamin C serum that's launching, when we start talking about total solutions of morning and night, when we start talking about protein plus vitamins, like we have to be able to articulate why all this stuff matters. And the stronger, like we always say, like, you know, you got to have a strong why in order to build this business, but like the stronger you're able to express why these products work, the more likely you are to really grow. So those were like the three main things that really hit me when I left Roger. And I think like 1 and 2 were pretty like monumental to me because I was just like, as a leader, maybe I'm spending too much of my time in the weeds with average producers. No offense. And I need to start really understanding like, why aren't people working? What? I don't get it. And then, geez, they're crushing it. What are you doing? So I really like those. I think those are really good things to take away. The other thing that I was going to say, and this is just one last lesson that mom kind of hit me with the other day that I didn't really think about. My mom was like the cutest human being in the way that she like going through her stuff. My mom literally is hoarder city. Never got rid of a single thing.
Not like a gross hoarder, just like she hangs on.
Yeah, like but everything. So like I was looking through her calendar and she had all of these like she had so cute like had written out all of her doctor's appointments and highlighted when like she was going to be done with chemo and all that kind of stuff. And then I would turn the page and like 4 recipes from magazines would fall out. And then I would turn the page again and she would have like notes that she had written and that would fall out. Like she was just constantly like writing stuff all throughout her house. She's got like 15 stations that it had double bubble. She was like she would always chew these like double bubble, like, so it'd just be like 1 or 2 double bubbles laying there. And she would have a pen and she'd have a highlighter everywhere. And I'm telling you, there's like 15 stations throughout the house of these highlighters and pens and double bubbles everywhere because she always wanted to like take notes and write. Where I'm going with this. She's extremely intentional. And it's one thing that I'm going to miss so much. My birthday is in 8 days. It's going to be tough to like so quickly have a birthday without her. But even I found like she always obviously called, but she would want to leave a voice message. And I have last year's voice message of her singing happy birthday to me, which is gonna whatever. So but she would write notes to everybody. My mom, if she had known about Shackley, would have been like the most ultimate sales rep ever. Like she was so darn intentional. She never missed anything. She always wrote encouragement. It had nothing to do with the sale. Like nothing. And I said that to Amber the other night, like when we start doing this like customer appreciation, we just want to like just blast stuff out. Or I even think like with people that you know in your downline that can absolutely do this, sometimes you just need to be reminded you can do it. If we were all really good as an organization of just being intentional with people and not sending spam email, I don't care if you copy and paste the final 2-3 sentences, whatever. Like I get it, boom, we got to get them out. But like taking a little bit of time to make sure that people really felt seen and appreciated. My mom was so good at that. So good at that. And when I was going through all of her stuff when she passed, I was just like, man, like this is going to suck not having like the highlights recognized, the birthdays recognized, the anniversary. I mean, I got a card for everything. Like now I feel kind of guilty. So like, thanks. But, it's still a good reminder, I think, for me and hopefully for all of y'all, be really intentional with your customers. A lot of like when I go in there, it's not like you have like bazillion, so you can't manage them. Like a lot of us are in this maybe 5 to 25 customers a month. And I'm telling you, like you might be able to double your sales if we were just a little bit better at making sure that all those customers really felt seen and appreciated. So one little reminder mom gave me there as well. So there's 4 good nuggets for the day.
Okay, so should we kind of move on to what we're going to set up here?
Yeah. So I love doing our Mass Action Monday calls. That is like outside of a chaotic life this last month. Those have been so fun for me. That's my my sweet spot. Like I like hopping on here. I like working with y'all. And I think I really can help because like, on the talk track of, hey, like, what's really working? Like Christy Kronzer's business, she's got a lot of people that are working from the front. And I really, really like that. So, we're in Punta Cana and I'm like, well, what do you feel like's really working for your team? And she just goes like, look, honestly, like if they're wondering what to do, I go like, how are you doing with your activity tracker? Like, like, okay, and then what else? No, that's it. Like, are you doing the work or are you not doing the work? Which got me thinking. I'm like, man, we can hop on all these calls and we can fire you up and we can tell you what to do and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's either you're doing the work or you're not doing the work. And so if I take doing the work or not doing the work, and I take Mass Action Monday and I put them together, what we are going to kind of start transitioning to is not doing Mondays, but sticking with this Tuesday slot. I'm just finding, at least for my life, every Monday I'm like, holy cow, I'm running in like a bazillion ways. There's just no, like, how in the heck are we going to get this? And I don't know why it is. I don't know why Monday ends up being like that, but it just ends up being like a catch-all for everything going on in my life. So we're going to switch that to this Tuesday. So like focus on Tuesdays, try and be on at that 1 Eastern time, 12 noon Central. I'm not going to go down the rest of the time zones because I'm horrible at those. It takes me 15 minutes to figure out what time I need to be for Pacific Standard, but it's going to look a little different. The first couple of calls, obviously, we're gonna walk through activity trackers and examples of activity trackers, and where the good stuff is. Like, a lot of times people are really wanting to hop on and do, I'll do a story, so check box on social media, but we're not doing a call to action. So really figuring out like a good balance for everybody of like, what's it going to look like to be value ask. And kind of going through that, setting some like basic parameters that all of us feel like we can commit to. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do 5. I'm going to do 3. I don't care. I don't need people doing, 5. I'm going to send out 500 messages. And you're not. You're just not. So let's set realistic goals, right? Then what we're going to do in those calls, we're going to go real quick through everybody. I'm going to try and kind of build like a little like super simple like cheater, like, hey, like here are the 5 metrics that we're looking for. Colleen, how'd you do this week? And be like, I sent out 120. I followed up with 50. Awesome. Sweet. Okay. Next, Francisco, how'd you do? Kind of go through. So you actually have to like physically verbalize, I did the work. And here's the issue. Like right now we're not inviting. Like it's passive growth. So like if people reach out to us, invite sent. if you look at people and you go, gosh, we're like, maybe she'll reach out. So I'll just say, hey girl. So we need to we definitely need to make a push to like start being a little bit more proactive and a little less reactive. So we'll kind of go through all that kind of stuff. So a little bit where we're talking about maybe some strategy, a little bit of accountability and check-in. And then what I really want to do is look at people that are actively producing and growing. And I want to just do like an open-ended, like put you on the hot seat for 5 minutes and just be like, okay, Cassie, what's working in your business? Open fire. So, Colleen's got a question for you. Nikki's got a question for you. And we just take 5 minutes and just be like, okay, this is what's working. This is what's working. What's an example? Hey, do you mind posting like that? So you follow up with every single person. Oh, no. Could you post in the comments what the follow-up is? Oh, yeah. Everybody grabs it, whatever. Break down the call, send out a distribution. Obviously we'll record it, but I also want to be able to like get scripting, if there's something special that somebody's doing, and please God, do not overread the word special. Like special these days is just simply showing up every single day. So just keep perspective. But I really, really want to make this something now where I think we've done warm and fuzzy for 10 months together, which I love. I love you guys. And I'm really excited to get all of y'all to Punta Cana, Cabo next year, because it's real. And I think enough of y'all can do it. But like, in order for us to do it, like, we're going to have to like move forward, because not only like, do I want you guys to get the trip to Cabo and all that kind of stuff, but like, I mean, wouldn't it be nice to make like $5,000-$10,000 each and every month, and now like you're really making an impact of 60,000 to 120 to 200. Like we can get there, but like we were in like attack mode for 6 months and growing. I mean, as evidenced by Star Club bonuses being in the 50s. And now we're like, we've done the loyalty. So you guys, I'm proud of y'all on the loyalty. But like, gosh, if we can just hit that, like that balance again, like the one thing that Roger said, like we're just like, we're a very balanced organization where some people are heavy team, some people are heavy personal sales, but like our balance is really good. So I want to us back there and really help you guys.
Where does it hurt?
Right here. But really help you guys, hold accountable. Like I committed to it. And so like I want to do it. And we got to figure out some like parameters of like, I'd love for people to commit to being on. I know how this goes. Because what'll happen is if you didn't do it, you just won't show up for the call. Like I got it. It's always funny because it's people that think like, well, they won't notice I'm not on. And you're like, oh, she's been on for 3 weeks straight now and's not on. I'm assuming she didn't do it. So I think we have to figure out some sort of like, I don't know if it's like a fun little like bet or if it's a fun, I don't know, something that
Or you
we're
just
like,
hunt, like they commit and then you hunt them down if they're not.
love the hunting. That's always fun too. But really our intention here is knowing what's possible. And I know this like we're probably getting to a point now where they're like, got it, Jake. You've told us now 50 times that the products coming are really amazing. But like, could you just like really believe me with that? Like, we're not talking 2 or 3 products. We've got like 10, 15 products coming like over the next 3 months. So if we're not building, if we're not pushing, if we're not trying to get to this next level, like we got a lot of y'all who are all at like 1,500 PTV, like what's another 2, 3 customers and go director? I mean, then you're also making money on your level 1s and 2s. So like, if you're wondering, how do I make more money? It's unlocking these next levels, like not taking a step back. And I think that's also like, one of the things we talked about at our retreat, but I think it bears repeating. You hurt yourself when you take a step back. Like you're not hurting us and you're not hurting your upline per se. Like, I mean, obviously we feel it a little bit, but like you're really hurting yourself. So if your sales tier drops from 30% to 15%, the only person impacted is your family. And then it becomes really difficult to like want to get back to 20%, 25%, 30%. So instead of us doing this, I always do this. Sorry guys. I love my way. I like looking at it in the camera, but we got to be doing this. Like it's got to be, I'm a-okay with it being like slow and steady wins the race. I'm all about it because we've talked about that constantly, how like, look, we're here for the long haul. So this doesn't have to be this. That's not realistic, but it does have to get back to this. And as it gets back to this, you guys are going to Cabo, you're making more money, check. You're building teams, you're building relationships. We can have a lot of fun together. So I keep saying it and I'll just repeat it one last time for today. The products coming are really, really good and exciting. And I really truly believe that they can change your business. I really, truly believe you're going to make a lot of income from these product launches. But here's just the cold, hard reality that if you check out right now, your business will have a lag. It will. 30 to 45 days. Sometimes it's 2, 3 months. It's just the harsh reality of sales. If you check out, your customers check out, and when you want them back, you can't just expect them to be ready to move. So it's so important, and that's why we're like, hey, let's get something going here where people can actually be held accountable to taking action steps on a regular basis so that we can really, really maximize these next 3 months. I mean, God, like you legit, like I keep saying this to Amber. I'm like, I don't want people to feel like, well, if you just work really, really hard, now you're going to be making $10,000 more a month. That's not realistic yet. But if we work really, 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 really hard, is it realistic to think you can make an extra $1,000 a month in the next 3 months? Probably.
And if they're focused on retail, faster than that, obviously.
Yeah, and like the same thing holds with, like gosh, if we can get in the habit of like make me puke, but we got to invite and we got to recruit, and you start bringing over some rock stars that can run with you, and now you go director, so you're getting paid on your level ones and twos, like not only because we have you balanced, are you going to be making more money in your personal sales tier, but we have you balanced and you've brought on some rock stars and like just awesome people that are going to run with you and you're going to impact their families and bless them financially. But like now you're also getting paid on the level ones and twos. So your personal sales tier is going up, your team volume's going up. Like there is a path here, but we have got to be present. And I know it sucks. I said this at our retreat. We've been 10 months of like really not taking a break. And God, have we been through the ringer with Amber's dad, with my dad, my business partner's dad, my business partner, losing our Beachbody business. My real estate business has been on hold for 6 months while my business partner recovers from life-altering injuries. Like we've got every friggin' excuse in the book. But I'm telling you right now, with what I know is coming, like we cannot afford to be sitting on the sidelines, and neither can y'all. So that's
So,
what I've got.
so this is sort of the team-wide, this Tuesday, like the team-wide accountability, you would say. And so this is something we're really excited about because I think partly the problem that happens when you're not leaning in is then you get easily affected by the people on your team who aren't doing much. I know for me, like that's the hardest part of this business is that like you see the potential in other people, but then they're not working and then it brings you down. And the reality is, if you want to win, you have to be around other people who are winning and who want to win too. And so I just encourage you to lean into this call. And then what we are also going to do is have tiers, kind of like we used to call this like an assembly line. So um, this will be for everyone. Anyone's always welcome to this. But then once you hit director, the accountability goes up, right? Like you need more at that point. So Jake, we're also going to do one for directors, like for you to get to the next level of senior director. Because if that's something, some people will just want to be a director and sell, that's fine. But if you want to get from director to senior director, then that is going to require an emphasis on recruiting. And that has to happen like team wide, myself included, just more of an emphasis on that.
You and who? I like as long as we start focusing on that, you and who. That's your path to senior director. You and who.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, as we rank advance, we want to have smaller pods of you together, working together, so that you can also lean into people, that are at your level. So the hope is that you're never feeling like you're alone wherever you're at in the business. But I think there's immense value in leaders pouring into this call as well. So not just leaders going to the leader call, but leaders pouring into the overall call. And then also, having a separate spot where you can go, okay, let's talk about this hard stuff. Like I know Meredith and I had a really solid conversation yesterday just about leadership. And it was like so refreshing for us to talk through some things of like, okay, how do you handle this? Or, this, or like so-and-so. I think a lot of us, again, we're still healing. So like she was sharing that, someone close to her went to a different opportunity. And I think we've all lost people to different companies or different teams. And like, it's hurtful and it's hard. So we want you to feel like you have that support in that place to heal where you don't feel like you're on your own, but also where you can then be more proactive to level up. Because what I see right now is there's like this, it's like people don't quite trust it yet, right? Because of what we've been through. So it's like they're all in, and then all of a sudden they're like, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to be all in because I don't know if I can trust it. Because what if I put effort in and then it doesn't work out here either? And so our goal really is to continue to help you heal and to be able to trust this place. And we know that you're going to probably need to borrow our belief for a little while longer because we really do believe, and we know that you can do this. And the reason why Jake said we want to pay attention to the high producers isn't to ignore the people that are in the middle. It's to help you also become a high producer. Because I truly believe that everyone who is willing to put in the hard work here can be a top producer. It's not like where we came from. Like the people who are working hard are having success. It's not the people that have the big social media followings. It's the ones who are doing the work. And so I'm just really excited to see where we can take this. So we want to really have more intention. And then as far as like team calls go, we do want to bring in some speakers as well. Where, I would say my thought is like twice a month have like speakers from either other teams or corporate or wherever where we can get like a training. But I really believe that like this call, the most beneficial thing, you don't really need another training. You need accountability because a lot of you guys want to do it. It's not that you're
And can
lazy
do it.
and can do it. And it's not that you're lazy. It's just that your mindset's not quite there. And so I think you really need to like lean in and let Jake be like, I mean, so I'll share this story quick. When we went 15 star for body, we did this approach and it worked really well. So he basically was like, people would give him, and we'll make sure like you give him permission. We're not just going to come hound you because we want, like, you have to want this, like we're not going to make you do anything you don't want to do. But the people that wanted to grow, like then he would check in on them, like even messenger, throughout the month, like, hey, this is where you're at with Success Club. What's your plan to get to SC10? Like just thinking through how can we help you to get there. And the reality is most of us are used to accountability with just, corporate jobs or teaching or wherever we're at, like you have a boss. And so that's the other part of like, we don't want to be your boss, but we want to be your accountability to help you create that mindset and that discipline that you need. But we're also not going to drag anybody this time around. Like we've decided that too, like, you also have to sort of bless and release the people that don't want it like you want it. That's okay. To me, that fires me up even more. Like if I have someone take a step back, I'm like, all right, well, I'll prove to you that this is where you should have been. Like I just get kind of competitive with myself. But I'm just so excited because we see so much potential in you. And like Jake said, you are already crushing it. Like you are already doing amazing things. And I just really feel like if we all lean in and we're held to the fire a little bit more, and he's gonna like I want him to hold me accountable
I did
too.
last night.
He did, yeah, that was a great example. So I wanted to send an email out to my customers about the free Vivix. And if you don't know about free Vivix, you should. Hopefully your upline told you, but if not, when you have any customer order $100 or more, they can get a free thing of Vivix. So that's like this thing that I wanted to get out yesterday, and whatever, the kids were home, yada yada, how it goes, right? Like you get distracted and all of a sudden it's the end of the day and I didn't get the email done. And Jake's like, you got to do the email. I was like, okay. So then I was up until like 11 doing stinking email, but it got
I
done.
wouldn't let her sleep. No, locked her out.
No, but like that is what I need sometimes because I can let myself off the hook and I keep pushing to the next day. So
Yeah, on that,
kind
like,
of
I mean,
stuff.
if we say we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. And you check out, I'll check in once or twice, and then I don't know. I just am not good with that. Two things that I wanted to say with the directors. I really be thinking about you and who, because frankly, like I'm not really worried about like a Katie Wilson. Like I know she's doing the work, but I know that she's got some really, really talented people that are under her that can achieve more. So I want Katie Wilson on the call, but then I want Katie Wilson to think you and who. And frankly, like you might have 4 or 5 people that you're like, hey, you should really be on this director call. So like be thinking about that. Like I'm not necessarily worried about people who I know are taking active steps and are busting their butt to grow this thing, but I want to help you and come alongside of you and just giving some additional framework for people to, hey, they said that they want to do it. I asked them, they want to go director, like let's get them on this call. Okay. So that's who I'm looking for there.
Well, I was just gonna say with that, because I want to normalize this, that there's people that you will say that to, and you'll be like, you should be on this call, and they're not gonna be receptive and they're not gonna be ready to take action. And that hurts, right? Like that sucks when they don't want it like you want it. So just know that that's normal. That doesn't make you a bad leader. It does mean that you have to recruit more though. And that's where I know so many of us are at is like, okay, well, we've tried with a lot of these people. So they're not like, we can't make them work. So then we're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. We're going to just focus like more on recruiting.
Yeah, you're always like that. Back to anxiety. We're going full circle here, but your anxiety in this business is always it's either under control or it's really high. And if it's really high, it generally means your pipeline's not very full. So what we need to transition now is just get you guys back in like really good working groove and figure out like a really good formula for getting people in as customers. That was always what worked for Body. Like there were very few people who just came into the business, but if we can find a really good way, whether it's in longevity club, whether it is in like our 14-day, hormone reset, something where we really start noticing people that are participating, and then finding a good way to bring them through. Like we just got to create a good funnel. So we're going to work on that. Do you have anything else? Because I do want to hit one last thing.
No, I'm thinking I'm good.
Okay, so I forgot this, and this just like for whatever reason, when you were like, I know a lot of people just aren't trusting. This is one last thing that Roger broke down for me, which I thought was kind of fun. We were talking about income and how to make income and all this kind of stuff, and then he was like, how old are you? And I was like, 38. And he was like, okay, 38. So okay. So like realistically, you'll probably be at Shackley for what, like 40, 45 more years then? And I was like, uh, maybe. He's like, okay, so like I'm just thinking like just for you and like, why, if, how much have you made in the 10 months that you're here? And we go through that. He's like, okay, so is it realistic to think that you could double that in the next year? And I was like, I mean, maybe. I was like, I don't really understand like the depths of the comp plan to know if it's possible. He's like, oh yeah, I mean, it's plenty possible. There's plenty of people that are making that. There's plenty of people that are making 6 figures a month right now within our comp plan. And I was like, oh, okay. He goes, so he was like, I'm just trying to think. So like, let's say you doubled it, and then growth kind of slows down. I mean, gosh, I mean, you probably have a good, what, 25 to 35 years of working left here at Shackley. So I don't see any reason why you can't achieve all your financial goals here. And I was just like, it was so matter of fact. Like I probably like skim over that because other things were kind of blowing my mind besides that. And like, obviously my mind's going a million places on that plane ride, but that was the way that it was framed to me, was like, no, I don't understand, so you could easily double it, probably double it in another year. Like we've been here in 10 months. So like, why wouldn't you just double it again? Like, I don't know. It was just crazy. And a lot of people on that trip were going down this framework of, if you could go back to where you started your body business and look at where you were 6 months in, or look at where you were 8 months in or 9 months in, would you trade places? And every single one of us is like, no, like, what I've done in 10 months, like was far superior to what I did the first 10 months at body. So like to him, then like that was the conversation amongst like our peers. And then you hop on a plane with him and he's going like, I mean, gosh, I mean, you should be able to work here 25 to 35 more years. You can be a part of Shackley for 40, 45 more years. Like it's just so matter of fact, like this isn't going anywhere. So I hope that gives you guys a little bit of peace as well. I kind of forget about it, but like when Amber said that, I was just like, yeah, that was really impactful. I said that to Amber. I was like, yeah, he just thinks like we could probably work till we're like 65 at Shackley, and it's just crazy. So yeah, there's just so much good coming, and I keep saying that, and I know it probably gets glossed over, but I really want to make sure, it's been on my heart since we got back to Punta Cana, a little bit distracted, but really want to take what we're doing with Mass Action Monday, because Amber's like, how many people showed up? And I was like, no, like 20, 25. Like we've actually had a pretty decent turnout on Mondays. I just want to be able to commit to it. And then having these days where like 1 week we're on, 1 week we're off, like Tuesdays are just so much easier for whatever reason. So I hope y'all can just put on your calendars right now, Tuesday at 1, Tuesday at 1 Eastern, 12 noon Central. And I think Christy posted the rest. Thank you so much. But we're going to knock that out, and that will be team wide. Anybody is welcome to it. I would encourage you as an upline, if you've got people that you would like to be there, invite them. If they don't want to be there, they don't want to be there. It's like, we'll just find other people. That's how this business rolls. We'll see how that goes, those first couple. And then we'll probably start looking at doing this like honest director plus call, probably maybe like on a Thursday of some, something. And that, again, that's going to be, I would say it's by invite only. And I hate to say this because when you get to really know Amber and I, we are like includers by nature. We want everybody to win. That's like my whole personality is ideation, strategic, and includer. So I'm creative, I'm very strategic, and I want everybody a part of it. But I would say for that directors, I would keep it to people you honestly think are willing to do it. Not people
So
you
that call
like.
is someone that they don't necessarily have to be director, but they could bring someone on to that
You
call that they
plus
believe.
who.
Okay.
And I don't care if you bring 15 people that can do it. Awesome. But they need to like actually want to do it, not like, I'm just kind of, figured I'd hop on this call and see what it's all about. I'm not that's not a good use of your time or mine, honestly. So, I just want you guys to achieve what you're capable of here. And we got to just remember, as hard as it feels some days, because you're coming off of, a long ride with body, and it's like, oh, I don't really feel like having to go back and do this all over again. We're also very like early on and young here. And so all of those thoughts that you felt like, gosh, if I had only started 10 years ago, we're kind of like in that. So we're like right there on the ground floor. We gotta maximize this thing. So I hope that some of these things will be really impactful to you and your organizations, because that's where my heart's passion is right now, is just helping you guys grow.
I wanted to say this, and then I know it's time to go, but
And then I've got one more thing too.
if you have people too, like we are happy to do a mentorship call at any point too, like
For
separate
opportunity,
or
mentorship or
opportunity. Yeah,
opportunity.
like if because I truly believe this business is built on like mentorship calls like this or like one-on-ones or whatever. Sometimes you just need like that unlock, and then all of a sudden everything like you're like, okay, I can get to the next point. So if we can ever do like a one-on-one with you or one or like a two-on-one with maybe, someone that you just want us to pour belief in, like just reach out. We'd love to do that, especially Jake. That's like he's so good at that. He will help someone believe in them and actually like he has this power. Like people sometimes believe me, but they don't always like take action. And when I say something, he has this power of like they'll take action for him. I don't know if it's like they're sort of scared of him or whatever, but it works. So
Or I never hear from him
yeah.
again. That's one or the other.
But thank you guys so much for hopping on. Can we take a quick team photo before we go? I always kind of forget to do this, but I need to be better about that. All right. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right. Thanks so much for hopping on, you guys. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you later.